What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and today I want to talk about a recent article that I read on the WMBF news page. You know, WMBF, they're our local news station here in the area, and they had an article on the top 50 cities where people are moving to Myrtle Beach from and where they're coming from around the country. You know, I read through this list and it was pretty interesting. Some of the cities, you know, selling houses here for the last 20 years. Almost every city that's on the list, I think I've helped somebody move from over the years. So why are people moving here? It's not rocket science. People are coming because they love our amazing weather that we have. They love the beach. They want to get out and they want to be active outside doing things like golf. And there's so many things to do, as well as an extremely low cost of living in compared to other parts of the country, which is why people are moving here. Let me first do some honorable mentions of a few cities that were on the list where I've recently helped people move to the area from. So at number 43 on the list was Providence, Rhode Island, where I recently helped some people move here to Myrtle Beach. You remember, I've shared this story before about Mike. Mike moved here. He had a home in Rhode Island that was from 1968. The home was 1,100 square feet. They needed more space, so they converted the garage over to a third bedroom, and they had a total of 1,300 square feet. Well, Mike and his family sold their home up there, moved down to Myrtle Beach. Once you factor in the changes of costs on taxes and all the stuff, basically it was about $37 more for Mike to live here in Myrtle. Now, what kind of house did he have in exchange for coming here versus Rhode Island? Well, his home up there, like I mentioned, was 1,300 square feet. Down here, he had a brand new 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath house with over 3,000 square feet in an awesome community with great amenities, a community pool, soon to be a lazy river, and so many other things right here in the Carolina Forest area. Mike could get over to the beach if he wanted to. It was a 15-minute drive, and it was so easy to go and do everything. So why did he move? He could have the same great life that he had up north down here for the same cost, but have the beach, beautiful weather, and all of the amazing things that Myrtle Beach has to offer. Another thing that I saw as an honorable mention was several cities in Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio in particular. I've recently helped people from both of those cities make the move down here. Well, why are these people coming here? They love the beach. They love that when they want to go back home, it's a quick, easy drive back up to Ohio to visit family. And they love the fact that we have warm weather without any snow. You know, my brother, he lives up in the Columbus, Ohio area. And the other week we had weather here that temperatures were probably about 65 to 70 degrees. He had 2 inches of snow on the ground. Personally, instead of shoveling snow, I'd rather have a sand shovel and go to the beach. All right, so here is the list of the top 10 cities, and we're gonna count them down. The first one on the list, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In the last several months, I have helped so many people from Pittsburgh who say, I am done with Steel City, I'm ready to move south. And they've come down here and enjoyed all the stuff Myrtle Beach has to offer. I remember one of my clients, he was so happy to get out of the cold and dreary weather and get here to Myrtle Beach. Number 9 on the list is my hometown, right out where I used to live, Philadelphia, PA. I grew up an hour outside of Philly in Reading, which is a small suburb outside the major city. And people are flocking from that area down here. Why? Once again, they're tired of the high taxes, they're tired of the cold weather, and they're tired of being stuck inside for most of the year, and they want to be able to go to a place where they can go out, do things, and enjoy life. Number 8 on the list is Hartford, Connecticut. 7 is Baltimore, Maryland. People are getting out of these cities. Why? Once again, cold weather, we don't want it anymore. High taxes, high traffic congestion, we don't want to be anywhere near there. We're moving south. Number 7 on our list is our first city from North Carolina, and that's the Raleigh Durham area. People are tired of being in the big cities. They want a more relaxed lifestyle, and so they're moving down here. They can get more home, more area to be outside in, and enjoy all the great stuff Myrtle Beach has to offer versus those big cities. And they're usually going to get those things at a more affordable rate. The 5th most popular metro that's sending people to Myrtle Beach is one that I have helped a bunch. And when I say a bunch of people move to here, and that is the Washington, D.C. metro area. People are just over all of Washington, D.C. They're over the hustle and the bustle of living in that city and the constant go, 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 and they're ready to relax. They're ready to retire and move to an area that's much more laid back. And so they're coming here to Myrtle Beach from that area left and right. Number 4 on our list is the only one from inside the state of South Carolina, and that is the upstate, Greenville. Greenville's an awesome city. I've visited many times throughout the years, and it's funny when I go to visit there because they have mountains. Here, everything's flat, but when I get up there, it's such a great area with a lot of amazing parks and trails to be in. But once again, you're farther away from the beach, so when you have the heat of the south, it's going to be much warmer inland as you go. So people are saying, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm done with the higher cost of living up there. Let me move down towards the coast, live in Myrtle Beach, and have a much better life. Number 3 on the list is just like Raleigh, Durham area, and that's the Charlotte area. People that live in both of those cities, they come and visit Myrtle Beach on a regular basis, so they're familiar with our beaches. From both of those cities, it's an easy 3 to 4 hour drive, and so they come on a regular basis. Because they have visited here so much, they know what's to offer here in the area, and they finally say, you know what, I've had enough. I'm gonna buy a second home. Well, that second home turns into visiting more often, and before long, a lot of times it turns into the primary residence here in Myrtle Beach area. So people are coming from Charlotte left and right as well. Number 2 on the list is probably the one that I deal with the most, and that is the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania metro area of the city. People have just had enough. When you live in these large metro cities like New York City, your taxes are just going to be ridiculously obscene. You're going to be paying $8, $10, $12, $15,000 for a home that might be 1,000 square feet, built back in the 1950s with not even a garage or a place to park your car. I talk to people all the time like, yeah, it's a big deal to find a parking space. How is parking down there? And I'm like, you have your own 2-car garage you can pull in. A garage? In that area, it costs so much to live there that getting a garage, that just can't be afforded. So people are moving from the New York area down here on a regular basis. I recently spoke with a friend who was buying an investment property down here in the area from New Jersey, and she was sharing with me how ridiculously expensive it is for just about any and everything you can think of. Groceries up there were sometimes 2 to 3 times the cost. Gas was almost double, and just about any other thing that you need for day-to-day living was just way more expensive. So people are done. They're over it. They're coming down here left and right from those areas. And the number 1 spot on our list today is Wilmington, North Carolina. It's also the place where people are moving the most out of Myrtle Beach. Why is that? It's right over the border from North Myrtle Beach and Little River. So people are constantly buying houses on the other side of the state lines and flipping back and forth between it. Kind of be like me buying my house in Carolina Forest and then next year selling it and moving it to Myrtle's Inlet. It's that simple of an easy move, maybe a 15-minute drive. So that explains why that is the number 1 spot. Okay, so here's a few interesting facts that I found from this list of 50 top city metros. The state that had the most people moving to the Myrtle Beach area was Pennsylvania. It had 6 major cities listed in the top 50. Well, why is that? In Pennsylvania right now, the cost of living is very expensive. What you're going to get in a home compared to what you could have down here is usually going to be about half to a third of the size and cost. The other part is this: your taxes up there are going to be probably $8,000 to $10,000, maybe $12,000 for the same price home that you would have down here. In comparison, in Myrtle Beach, that home that might be, say, $300,000, you're looking at taxes for a primary residence right around $1,100 a year. That is a huge saving, especially for those people that are looking to retire or are on some sort of fixed income. When they can cut their monthly expenses down by a dramatic amount, they're ready to make the move. So people are coming from all parts of Pennsylvania to the area left and right. For me, as someone who's also from that area, it's awesome because most of the people that I run into that are from there, I get to say, hey, are you a Steelers fan? Or are you an Eagles fan? And we have something to connect about instantly. And we have great conversations about how terrible the Eagles are these days, or how amazing they were when they won that Super Bowl back in 2018. But it always makes for great conversations. Another thing that I found interesting on this list is that there were several cities in the state of Florida. Now you may be saying, why in the world would people from Florida want to move to Myrtle Beach? Well, The answer is pretty simple. If you had a home originally up in the Northeast that you sold and you're now moved down to retire to Florida, you now have a 2-day drive to get back home. As your children begin to age and they start to have children and you now are a grandparent, you want to be able to go and see those family members. And when you're in Florida, that's a 2-day drive to get back to Philadelphia or to Pittsburgh. If you're in Myrtle Beach, it's a 10 to 12 hour drive, a huge difference. Plus, you can find flights direct from here to a lot of the areas throughout the Northeast. So people are able to make an affordable flight if they want to from here. When you're down in Florida, things are going to be a lot more difficult and take a lot more time to get back home. So people are picking here and coming up from Florida just to be in Myrtle Beach. The other reason why they're coming to Myrtle Beach from Florida is they realized they still like having 4 seasons. You know, I've spoken before many times about how awesome the weather here is in Myrtle Beach. This winter, we had a snowstorm. It literally hit the ground, laid on the ground, and by 10:30 in the morning, all of it was gone. My kids went out, played in it, we threw snowballs, it was great. Went in, made breakfast, and by the time we cleaned up the dishes, it was all gone and we went on with our day. So we were able to experience the fun of winter. In the summertime, yes, we have nice warm weather here and we have mild springs and mild falls. But when you get down to places in Florida, especially as you go farther south, you basically have 2 seasons, hot and hotter. And that's it. And so some people say, I can't deal with it, I'm moving back up a little bit, and they pick Myrtle Beach area. Another thing that I found interesting was that cities on the list that people were moving to Myrtle Beach, there was a ton from South Carolina and also North Carolina. Now, like I mentioned a few minutes ago about Wilmington and Charlotte and Raleigh, why are people doing this? Well, then they want to go on vacation. They've already decided on Myrtle Beach and they have been here multiple times. They're familiar with the area. They know what things have to offer here in the area and they love our beaches. So when it's time to retire or time to find that second home, they're taking a trip here to Myrtle Beach and they're purchasing that property. The other reason why they're picking Myrtle Beach along the coast instead of places like Charleston or Hilton Head is that our costs are much lower than those 2 cities. You can get a home here in Myrtle Beach for about the third the cost of what you can in Charleston or in Hilton Head. So people are picking Myrtle Beach for these reasons: lower costs, amazing beaches, and they're familiar with the area and things to do. All right, in closing, was one of your cities on the list today? Did I mention it by name maybe? Maybe you've already moved to the area and there's a city that I didn't say. Do me a favor, if I didn't mention your city or if I did, leave a comment down below. Tell me what city you moved to Myrtle Beach from, or if you're thinking about making the move, my contact info's down there as well. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you make the move to the area. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.